Hi there. So, even though that a reasonable person should not get involved in with such people and in such subjects because there's always going to be some backlash. But I can handle that. So, speaking of trolls, haters, cyberbullies, internet vigilantes, and the attention. So, the attention hose, yeah. So the biggest problem I've noticed, let's say in the comments sections, are mostly the people, to begin with, let's say the ones I actually dislike the most, are the ones who have a very short attention span. So people who don't watch any of the videos longer than maybe 10 to 30 seconds, and they immediately have to comment before watching the rest of it. So these are the kind of comments that stand out the most because they are the most common. So these are the comments who watched my 3 minute or so video and then proceeded to comment that I am sowing division. So good on you. If you still watch this video after this, bravo, you're not one of them probably because it's already too long for that. So these are my favorite kinds because regardless of what they're going to say or I respond to them, they never actually come back and respond, which means they're called out and then suddenly they don't have the balls to at least own their mistake and acknowledge and admit that their short attention span is probably among the shortest of all the animals on the planet. So, then a few types of haters, trolls that are really the kind of immature, childish people that no one really needs, likes, and wants. I think for the most part, they think of themselves as if they are able to hurt someone's feelings with their keyboards, or that they're able to trigger some stuff. Maybe on the triggering part, could be, and that's what's actually wrong about them because that's the only thing they want to do is trigger people and make them angry and upset and so on. So they have nothing better to do in life. And let's say the best two cookies from these examples were, one of them was an older dude, I would say probably in his 50s, mid 50s already, who commented something about my teeth and my English, which is not my native language, obviously. And then I went on his checking his own channel, and what I've seen there was outright disgusting. So he would basically go and talk a lot of shit to other people, but on the other hand, he was trying to get clout for himself by in one of his videos by pouring food off over himself naked in a bathroom or maybe in his underwear, but that was not really clear. At the end of the day, he was destroying food for clout on internet, and I find that extremely disgusting. So when I did respond to him on his video and in my comments section, within the next day I found that he deleted his own comments, but he also deleted his channel. Today I found one of the comments saying, I'm 47 and I look, I don't know, 5 years younger than you or something like that. To me, it doesn't really matter how old or young I look because people have totally different opinions about it. And I don't care because I feel as old or as young as I feel. And for the most part, I've seen 20-year-olds try some parkour and stuff, and I could kick their butts without even getting warmed up. So let's say some of these comments are extremely amusing. Because again, I go and check out the guy's channel, and he's also shirtless and talking something that is totally incomprehensible, makes no sense whatsoever anyway. And by the looks of it, he must still be playing with boys' toys and living in mom's basement. Sure, I made him aware of that, so. So yeah, my advice to all these people who think trolling is a really good idea. Look, if nothing else, I've dealt with a huge amount of trolls as an admin of a gaming group where there is quite a big range of age and there's quite a bit of division between the PvP and PvE players. So for those who don't understand, PvP means player versus player, and then player versus environment, which means on one side you have people who may be acting very aggressively within the game and its rules, and then you have people who are only playing for grinding and scoring and getting better stuff, but don't want to interact in combats with other players. Of course, things do happen, and there is hate sometimes within these communities. So my goal was to actually create a group where hate is the one thing. Either it's based on real life scenarios, politics and religion and stuff, and race, or something in the game that has nothing to do with the rules and how the game is played. Completely, utterly moderated, strictly. One time you get a warning, second time you get a mute, and third time you get a ban. And depending on how people behaved, some would even get a second chance to come back to the group after the ban, if they were behaving okay in the private messages towards me. If they were abusive or whatever, then I also blocked them myself and they could never find the group ever again. So within several years, that group with only 2 other moderators turned into one of the best gaming groups in the social networks so far, not just in my own opinion, but by many members of the group who also prevented me to leave a couple of times before I finally left for personal reasons. So I'm trained to eat trolls for breakfast, but I don't really engage. I delete any comment that is based either on exclusively trolling, attacking the character and attacking the looks. That gets pretty much screenshotted, deleted, and then removed. But then there's also other comments which I would say these are more the internet vigilantes, I would call them, and social justice warriors. It's kind of people who go and have an agenda. Let's say whether it's politics, whether it's feminism and sexism, then whatever it is, when they have an agenda and they take only certain parts of one video and then they make a complete assumption about who you are, what you are. So again, they actually stoop down on the level of a troll who is attacking your character instead of actually being able to get the content, get more from the channel itself and see what I'm talking about, and then come up with anything that is a reasonable argument, and we can actually have a discussion to learn from each other. Yeah. Now, for example, there was a guy accusing me first of me being the divisive character here. And then the second part was where he says that I don't talk about economics in the world or politics and things like that at all. Well, again, another short attention span, social justice warrior, vigilantism, and stuff like that, which is completely pointless and mindless, just like trolling. And then you have the vigilantes, the proper internet vigilantes. So you have organizations that are actually actively together with the law enforcement and with other agencies and stuff, trying to raise awareness and stop, let's say, all sorts of predators online, especially when it comes to minors. And these people are doing a great goddamn job. But then you have some of the amateurs, and they make mistakes. Either they get the wrong person, or, which is even worse, they turn into cyber bullies. And they end up bullying people who have nothing to do with any of their allegations. One of them, I've even made video quite long ago, was just basically a very famous social media character with really positive messages, accused of messaging inappropriate things to people under 18. And there was no evidence of it, or whatever evidence there was completely faked and manipulated, taken out of context and stuff like that. So that gentleman ended up taking his own life. Now, when it comes to basically the utterly final message to all these people who think they're doing justice or that they are doing the right thing by mocking, attacking, and cyberbullying people, and that nothing happens with all of that, while I dare to disagree. It's not about me and my feelings, of course, because for me, all I can say, if anybody wants to challenge me to a debate, go ahead. For those people who think that they're brave enough that can challenge me to a physical confrontation, go ahead. We can arrange a duel that's gonna be managed and arranged so that you're gonna be safe. I can promise you that. And then all the rest of the people who think that their words and their actions are not causing damage. Maybe yours as an individual don't, but when multiples of yourselves start to destroy someone's life, publish their personal information, maybe their past, I don't know if somebody had criminal activities, it doesn't matter. You need to look at who they are here and now and what they did to correct their own actions and behavior and all of these things, because people do change and people do get better and people do also still make mistakes on the way when they're learning to get better. It's important to see the difference between someone who refuses to learn, who refuses to listen, and who refuses to respect others, and is really just self-centered to push their agenda, their needs, their wants, and their own aggression and microaggressions and a passive aggression onto other people. You're all the same kind of cluster of antisocial people, basically, to speak. And that's it. Because you ultimately project anger and hate on persons you know nothing about. Whether they've done something wrong or not. Of course, there are cases that are extremely brutal, extremely unacceptable to be among us as a society. But we're not the judges. At the end of the day, the humanity is itself, even the judicial system, is just nonsense when you ask me. There are karmic laws and there are also laws of the jungle. Let's say if someone hurts my child, I don't need justice because I'll deliver it myself. Or if someone hurts another child and I see that, whether it's their own or someone else's child, and I mean hurt, not spanking their butt because they hit their own brother or sister or did something really bad to deserve that spank, on the butt only. No, I won't react. But if I see, and I did, let's say a father terrorizing his daughter in the public space, no one reacts, no one does anything. I approached him and I said, what you're doing here is child abuse. You're mistreating and terrifying your own child. And if nobody else does anything about it, I am ready to act correctly. Number one, I can call police. Number two, I can make your life very miserable. Look at your daughter, how afraid she is of you. And the guy tries to jump at me, threaten me with a move. I didn't flinch, not even with an eye. I looked him straight down. I said, if that's how you want it to go, please do, just not in front of your child. We can discuss it later if you want. But right now, if you do this again, I'm definitely going to call the police and make sure you get arrested. Of course, later he just disappeared. But at least I could see in the eyes of his daughter that she was a little bit more relieved that there was somebody who stood up for her. So don't think that I'm the only person who feels that this needs to be done. I'm pretty sure that most people feel the same need to interfere and interact with bullies like that guy. And it's the same on the internet. It's the same everywhere. You see trash, trash it out. Don't just tell people, oh, ignore it. Oh, don't engage. Don't feed the... Nobody's feeding these bitches. Just call them out. The same way we're calling out either one or the other generation and everyone on their own mistakes, and I'm calling myself on my own, the same way we have the freedom of speech, we have the right. As long as you remain respectful enough, I don't think there's anything wrong in a little bit of sarcasm when it comes to these clowns. And there's nothing wrong to tell them to fuck off. But the point is, don't let people who are victimized by these idiots to stand on their own. We're hearing this together, right? So, show your brothers and your sisters all the respect by shutting these little wankers up. And the wankerats as well. I'll see you later today in another video talking about animals and what's actually good and bad about it. Cheers. Thanks for watching.